Well, hey there, friends, and welcome to the Raising Amazing Tween Girls podcast and show. Did you know that the Raising Amazing Girls show is both a podcast and a YouTube show? Why, yes, it is. So you can listen or watch, whichever you prefer, or both. Now, we are trying to get up to 100 subscribers so that we can name our channel. That's a really cool thing to get to do. So if you have a quick minute to pull them both up on your phone or wherever you are listening or watching from and subscribe and leave a comment, that would be so very helpful. Well, GirlTribe Nation was started because we love tween girls and the mamas who are raising them. I'm Lisa Toney with GirlTribe Nation, and I am so very glad that you are joining me today. Now, GirlTribe Nation, we are committed to raising a generation of tween girls to be smart, healthy, brave, and live with a whole lot more happy in their lives. GirlTribe Nation is a movement of mamas who are raising tween girls to become young women who are full of character, responsibility, self-control, and a firm identity. Well, our culture, I gotta say, it is warring for the hearts and minds of your daughters. And we moms, we need to be on our guard to help our girls. As tweens are looking for guidance and role models for who they want to be like as they grow up into being young women, culture is pushing people at them. But we, as their moms, have an amazing opportunity, responsibility, and privilege to help them during these years. These tween years, well, there's a lot going on with the onset of puberty and body changes, but there's also another big change. Tweens are starting to transition from having their caregivers, their parents, as their primary role models, to starting to look to other people to be examples to them as they begin to make choices about how they're going to live and the people that they are going to become. The first people in your daughter's life were her parents, you, her mom. She looked up to you because you cared for her. You, her mom, are the one that fed her and clothed her and helped her when she got hurt. You are the first role model. And honestly, we believe here at GirlTribe Nation that you can and should remain in that primary circle of influence in your daughter's life. She has learned how to interpret the world from you. The expressions you choose, the word choices you make to describe things, and how you interact with people. You have been her model for how to handle stress and day-to-day problems that arise. Now, as she grows older, her brain is able to hold more information and to assess more people around her. So she's naturally going to start to be able to add additional role models to expand the information base that her brain can utilize to understand her world better. This is normal and a natural process of growing up. Now, based on our kids' interests, they're going to naturally pick role models around things that they're interested in. So, for example, if your daughter is into sports, she's going to have some role models around that sport. If she's into cooking, she probably has some role models from her favorite cooking shows. If she listens to music, she's probably looking to those singers as role models because she likes their songs. Now, we all gravitate towards role models around our interests. But this is where you come in, and you have a great opportunity to talk about what makes a good role model. This is also where you can have some great one-on-one conversations with your daughter about picking her fierce five. And this will make a huge impact on your daughter's development. Her fierce five can be incredibly impactful on her future, on her decision making, and in her transition into adulthood. Now, picking your fierce five is a process. That is something that you can do together. And that is why it's so pivotal to do in the tween years, because you still have your daughter's ear. What you say and do is still really important to her. It's meaningful to her. She really cares what you have to say and is still listening, even when you don't think that she is. So what exactly is the Fierce Five? Let's get into it. Your Fierce Five is the circle of adult female mentors that you are going to intentionally surround your daughter with and help her to engage with. This circle of her fierce five are those women that you know and you trust to give her wise counsel and share your values. These women are going to give her an amazing opportunity to feel invested in, loved on, and like she has some adult friends. Now, this is a really good thing because having safe, wise, helpful adult friends is vital for a girl so that she can have people that she looks up to and has a real relationship with. These aren't just people that she idolizes on TV or in the news or on social media. No, these fierce five, her fierce five, are people that she is going to develop a real relationship with. They are people that she can talk with. They are women that she sees doing real life. I have worked in the nonprofit sector for over 20 years, and I can tell you that almost every young woman that I have worked with wishes she had a mentor. The challenge is that finding a mentor who can meet with someone intentionally every week or every month is really hard because people are busy. Now, I'm not saying this is impossible, and if that's your jam, go for it. But I've found that with our girls, establishing her fierce five is easier on everyone. 5 women instead of 1 that can pour into your girl. This is why this is so helpful to you and your daughter. If you plan for her fierce five to take her out twice a year, each one twice a year, then that is 10 dates. So if you plan for 1 a month, then that is 10 months out of the year. Maybe you want to take December off, and maybe you want to take 1 summer month off where you're on vacation or just busy with summer activities. Well, that leaves you the bulk of the year, those other 10 months, where your daughter gets to go out with 5 different women and spend about an hour chatting about life. This is much easier to ask of your friends as well. I have found women to be pretty receptive to this idea. 2 times a year for an hour seems really manageable in their schedules. So when you're thinking about inviting your fierce five friends to be this circle of influence around your daughter, it's pretty easy. You can send an email, a text, give them a call, or chat with them sometime and see if this is something that they would be willing to do. Now, I've included an email that I've used in our GirlTribeNation.com website. So if you want an example of how to word it or what you should say to invite someone to be part of your girl's fierce five, I want to give it to you for free. So you can just go ahead and access it and go to GirlTribeNation.com/fierce5. And you can get an example of maybe what you want to say to invite some of the women that you know to be intentional about investing in your daughter's life. Now first, I want you to think about some options that you think would be good role models in your daughter's life. Think about some people. I mean, if you weren't available, who would you trust to answer her questions? Who would point her in the right direction? Who would represent your values and encourage the traits of honesty and self-control, responsibility, and modesty in her life? What other values are important to you? Write those down, think about them, so that you have a good sense for what you value. And then think about the people that you know that best represent those values. Sometimes our funnest friends are not always our wisest friends, so we want to think through this decision wisely. Next, I want to encourage you to set a budget for this. I mean, you can ask your friends to do this for free, and they probably will. But I place a high value on this idea of mentoring, and so I've set aside some budget money for it. I offer to give each of her fierce five $20 each time they take her out to just pay the cost for some Starbucks or frozen yogurt, or my girl loves crepes. Whatever they love and whatever your fierce five is going to take them out to do. Now, I just don't want this to feel like a financial burden to them. And I also want to let them know that I have a high value on this. I'm actually willing to put my money where my mouth is. That means if I plan for 10 fierce five dates in a year at $20, this puts my budget at about $200 that I'm going to invest in this. Now, once you have a good list in mind, then it's time to talk to your daughter. You can approach it by letting her know that you are so proud of the way that she is growing into being a young lady, and that you wonder if it would be fun for her to spend some little bit of time with some amazing grown-up women that you both really respect. This is where you start to plant some seeds in the conversation. I usually would say something like this. Hey, I was thinking that we could pick 5 ladies, 5 women that you really admire and that you would enjoy spending some time with to talk about life. I think we should call them your Fierce 5 because they're going to be a Fierce 5 circle that are going to invest in you and tell you what a cool person you are. Now, once a month, we'll set it up so that you can go out with them and maybe go to Starbucks or frozen yogurt or some kind of treat and talk about life for an hour. How does that sound? Now, my daughter was won over just by the treat idea, but she also thought this was a cool idea. It kind of feels a little grown up to get to do this. So this is where you start giving some ideas. Hey, I was thinking about some people who might be good to invite to be part of our Fierce 5. Maybe we could ask these people and then give her some names and why they're so fun, cool, amazing, awesome people. And then ask her what she thinks about those ideas. And then ask her if she has any other people that you should put on your list to consider. Now, she may come up with some really good ones that you hadn't thought of. But I want you to be cautious about this. Don't include anyone that you don't know really well. There needs to be mutual agreement on this decision. It is still your job to steer your daughter in the right direction. We are working on developing her independence, but remember, her frontal lobe is still developing, and she needs you, Mom, your wiser, more experienced thinking to help guide her in this area. This is too important of a decision to let her make all on her own. She needs your guidance and your approval for the Fierce 5. Now, once you've agreed on your list of your Fierce 5, you might want to have a couple of alternatives as backups, just in case you need to move them up to the Fierce 5 list. Now it's time to invite your Fierce 5. So you can send out an email, a text, or make those phone calls, or set up coffee dates to invite them to participate in this. Now, I usually send out an email with the heading, "You've been chosen," and then give them all the deets, including some good times, the money you'll provide, her favorite places to hang out, and the questions that you'd like them to discuss. Now, as you get them to agree, give them some dates and get them set on your calendar. By the time you finish talking with each one, you should have a clear yes or no, and 2 dates set on your calendar, one for the first half of the year and one for the second half of the year. Now, just because you get the Fierce 5 scheduled doesn't mean that you don't still do your own mother-daughter dates. These are super important for you and your daughter. You can either count yourself as part of the Fierce 5 to make sure that you're getting at least 2 dedicated dates each year, or better yet, make sure you are adding at least a monthly mother-daughter date in for yourself. These are so important for her to be able to talk about all the changes that she is going through during puberty. Now, our GirlTribe Nation online curriculum, Growing Up Girl, has 6 mother-daughter dates included in the curriculum so that you have all your discussion questions ready to go for you. No stress, no dreaming up what you might say. It's all ready for you. All right, well, we have our Fierce 5 lined up. What are they going to talk about? Well, you can come up with 3 to 5 questions that you think would be helpful for them to discuss. For me, I have my Fierce 5 ask my daughter how school is going. What are her favorite things right now? What is hard about life right now? Now, we're also a family of faith, so it's also important for me to have our Fierce 5 ask her about her faith and for them to tell her stories about their faith. For me, the 2 goals that I have is that her Fierce 5 will help her to understand her unique identity and her place in this world, along with developing her faith. Now, these are things that I work on developing with her at home as well. So by no means are we handing over the responsibility reins to other moms to do this. But we are adding or shoring up these things with some additional people, some additional support, your support team, her Fierce 5 and your Fierce 5. Now imagine if they stick with this through her tween years and even into her teen years, then she is going to have 5 adults who are her friends. 5 adults that are pouring into her. 5 adults that are speaking wisdom and hope and truth to her. That is 5 really strong, positive, good influences in her life. She may just start to ask, I wonder what they would do in this situation. I wonder what they would say in this difficult situation, instead of asking what Miley Cyrus or Taylor Swift might ask. I mean, these girls are really famous, but they don't really know your girl or her life or your family. Your daughter may just start to think about what her fierce five would encourage her to do. Or better yet, she might even reach out to them and help them talk her through it. Now, we want you as her mom to be her primary go-to, but having a fierce five is a wonderful support plan around that. Giving your daughter her fierce five, who are trusted adults, rather than just depending on her tween friends for guidance, it's a wise mom move. Tween and teen friend guidance is not always the most helpful. It can be emotional, it can be selfish, and it can be right out hurtful. Remember, the tween brain, it's not fully developed yet. I highly encourage you to go back and listen to our second episode, episode 002, Has the Tween Brain Gone Insane? And there you can learn more about your tween daughter's brain development and that of her friends. Now, I would love to hear from you when you put your fierce five into play. So take a photo with your daughter as she goes out on one of her fierce five dates, post it on our Facebook page, GirlTribe Nation, or send me a DM in our GirlTribe Nation Instagram. I would love to hear from you how this is impacting your daughter as she navigates those tween years. Now, don't forget, I also put up the email example that I use for inviting my fierce five at girltribenation.com/fierce5. You can download it for free and easily adjust it to make it your own. Okay, friends, here's to raising smart, brave, healthy girls with a whole lot more happy in their lives. I am cheering you on as you raise amazing tween daughters, as you help them to develop strong and healthy friendships that will surround them with love, encouragement, support, and wisdom. I can't wait to hear all your amazing stories about your daughter and her fierce five. Alrighty, friends, thank you so much for joining me today at the Raising Amazing Tween Girls Show. We here at GirlTribe Nation are all about resourcing moms of tween girls to grow a generation of young ladies to be smart, healthy, brave, and live with a whole lot more happy in their lives. Let's come together to raise a generation of tween girls to be world changers. And hey, if you found today's episode helpful, it would mean so very much to me if you could share this episode with a friend, subscribe to our show, and then leave a comment. It makes a world of difference in our podcast and YouTube show. Thanks again for joining me. I can't wait until next time. Bye for now.